and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I thought I would talk to you guys about the top 5 best Dossier fragrances. So I have about like 12 in my collection, but these are the top 5 I feel like are spot on dupes. So if you don't know what Dossier is a brand that makes inspired or they dupe really popular fragrances. So if you've ever heard of Dossier and maybe you're curious about it, I have 5 here that I feel like they just hit the nail on the head and it smells exactly like the original and they perform a lot better. So if you want to see what that is, please keep watching. But before we get into it, my name is Destiny. I talk about fragrances, beauty, and fashion on this channel and just kind of anything I want to. So if that's something you're interested in, I hope that you would click subscribe and join the family over here. I love fragrances. I love talking about it. So I hope that you would stay. So let's get right into the video. The first fragrance I have here is one of my all-time favorites. I feel like I've talked about this on my channel so many times before. I'm a huge fan of the House of Jo Malone. It's like one of the first niche fragrance houses that I ever got into. So this scent by Dossier is called Woody Sage, and this is actually a dupe for Jo Malone's Wood Sage and Sea Salt. So off the bat, it smells exactly like the original. If you know Wood Sage and Sea Salt, or if you love that fragrance, it is like salty, aquatic. It smells like you are walking on the beach. It's so fresh. And I love this for like the spring and summertime. Sometimes when it's like really cold outside and it's raining, especially now that it's spring, I kind of like to really like amplify the cold. So sometimes I will go for really fresh fragrances. So I've actually been reaching for this one a lot. So in terms of it being like a duper inspired, to me, it's like 98% similar. Of course, if you know Jo Malone, especially in the clear bottles, they do not last. So this one I've gotten around like 4 to 5 hours on my skin. It still is not something that's like beast mode, and I'm going to assume it's just because of the composition of the notes. It's not a beast mode fragrance. It's very fresh, very clean. So I didn't expect it to get so much longevity out of it. I'll be honest with you guys, but considering that when I wear my Jo Malone, I might get 2 to 3 hours if I'm lucky and I really layer really well. This to me is so good. It's a fraction of the cost. And if you're like me, I'm on my 3rd Wood Sage and Sea Salt. And to be honest with you, I'm still gonna buy my Wood Sage and Sea Salt bottle because I just love the House of Jo Malone. But this one I've just kind of been wearing around the house, and I could kind of spray over spray this without any guilt because it's not as expensive. So if you like Wood Sage and Sea Salt, but you just cannot justify the price, which is completely understandable, I would check out Woody Sage by Dossier and see if you like that. But if you've ever wanted to try it, I think this is also another way that I also like to try some fragrances. Or there are some fragrances from just in general that I like, but I don't love, but I would like to have in my collection, but not for the price, if that makes any sense. But Woody Sage, they did such a good job on this dupe. It is so good. The next one I have here is one of my favorites again, and this is Musky Aldehydes, and this is a dupe for Byredo's Blanche. So I have a lot of Dossier fragrances that I already have in my collection because I really wanted to see how similar they were to the original. So if you can see here, I have used this bottle a lot, and I've pretty much finished my Blanche by Byredo, like my actual one, and this has been like my go-to. So again, 98% similar. If you know Blanche or if you don't know, Byredo's Blanche is what's exactly in musky aldehyde is what the name of this perfume is called. It's a very like sharp aldehydic, fresh, clean laundry scent. So if you've smelled Chanel No. 5, it doesn't smell like Chanel No. 5, but Chanel No. 5 does have aldehydes in it. So if you think about that fragrance, but this is just a lot more of a modern take. So I feel like this is what I would hope Chanel No. 5 would smell like, but Chanel No. 5 smells more vintage, and this smells more modern. They added I think they added florals in here and some woody notes. So you still get that very clean, fresh laundry scent. And I know that read some comments where people really do like that kind of smell, and so do I. Sometimes you just want to smell fresh and clean, and this is the perfect fragrance for it. Again, this smells so incredibly similar, 98%. I think with this one, I got 6 hours on my skin, which is amazing because my actual blonde Mojito doesn't last that long. So that one is really great. And it smells exactly like the original. So again, this has kind of been like my backup until I buy like a new Byredo Blanche. And like I said, I've used so much of it. So if you're a fan of Byredo Blanche or you like Byredo Blanche, but you just cannot, again, justify the price of such an expensive fragrance and it's pretty simplistic in terms of its scent profile, then I would definitely check out Musky Aldehydes. Okay, so the next one has been one that's been on my wish list for such a long time, but it's so expensive. I have a little tester. So this is called Musky Gaiac, and this is actually an inspired or dupe perfume of Gaiac 10 by Le Labo. So if you guys know Gaiac 10 by Le Labo, you know it is part of the city exclusive that comes in September and September only, and it's only here for a month. And then if you want the fragrance again or anything from that line, you have to wait an entire year to get it again. So I believe Gaiac 10 is around 500 Canadian for about like a 30 ml bottle. So although I do like that fragrance, I've just had such a hard time justifying, 30 ml for that price. So I did get this dupe. So this smells exactly like the original. So this is a little bit harder to describe. So it has a fresh and clean element to it, but it's also very woody. So it's like it's like a woody, fresh and clean type of scent. So if you have smelt Gaiac 10 or dupes like Gaiac 10 or even got a sample from Le Labo when they come in September, you know exactly what I mean. So this smells exactly like, again, this is like a 98% dupe. The ones I have here are so close to the original, which is why I've included them. The only thing I'm going to have to say is I do have a tester of Gaiac 10 from Le Labo, and I did test them side by side on my skin to see which one would last longer. And unfortunately, the real Gaiac 10 from Le Labo did significantly last longer than this dupe right here. So in that sense, if you are wondering, okay, well, is it going to last as long? Is it going to be like the same? It's not exactly. It smells the same, but the longevity for the original definitely completely wipes it out of the park. I mean, I could have still smelled Gaiac 10 on my arm 10 plus hours later, as opposed to Musky Gaiac from Dossier. So that's the only thing I think. That's just going to be have to be personal preferences. Do you want to spend like $400 or $500 and at least get something that lasts a little bit longer, or do you want to spend around 50, 60 and maybe carry around a little like travel size in your purse and keep spraying? So that's going to be entirely up to you guys, but I thought that was something that I would include. It does smell exactly similar, exactly the same. It's just in terms of longevity, it's unfortunately not there with this one. So that part I was a little disappointed because I was like, oh, I love the scent. And it's such a woody, like powdery fragrance. And it's not something that's overly strong. They did a really good job with Gaiac 10. So I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do go back and forth like, oh, maybe I should buy the original. But for now, this is what I do. I'm gonna keep wearing it, keep seeing how I feel. But so far, it just doesn't last as long. So I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. If the longevity is something that's really important to you, if you just want to spray 2-3 sprays of the actual Gaiac 10, have it last 10 plus hours, or you want to spend $60 on this one and just keep repurchasing and respraying yourself. So still 98% the same in terms of scent profile, but not the same in terms of longevity. Okay, so the next one is probably not my absolute favorite, but definitely in like my top 3. And this is Emery Cherry by Dossier, and this is a dupe for Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. So if you know anything about Lost Cherry, which I feel like we've all heard it, and I know firsthand because I do have a little 10 ml bottle, and Lost Cherry by Tom Ford does not last at all. Like, it's one of the worst performing fragrances I think I have in my entire collection. So when I got this one, I was completely blown out of the water. When I tell you that I was having a hard time remembering which one I sprayed on my hand, like which was actual Tom Ford and which was Dossier, because this smells like, I almost want to say like 100% similar. The only thing that gives it away is that like I can still smell this. When I tell you the longevity on this is like nothing I have ever experienced before. I got like 10 to 11 hours on my skin and at least 12 to 13 hours on my clothes. By the time I could still smell this Dossier fragrance, my actual Lost Cherry perfume was completely gone from my skin, completely gone from my clothes. And I did like a whole 24-hour test. So I kept going back and smelling it and smelling them. I labeled 2 pieces of clothing to see how long they would last. And this outbeat it by far. So I'm still going to use my Lost Cherry one because I still have it. But I will be repurchasing Ambery Cherry when it's done because they got this spot on when it comes to the scent profile that I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow. Like I'm so incredibly impressed. And you still get that really sexy, boozy cherry. That's so, so, so good. So I will also say this. If you don't like Lost Cherry, there's another cherry perfume that I love and I think is like chef's kiss and they did amazing. And that is Cherry Ambitions by Seven Virtues. So this video is not about that, but I'm just saying, if you love cherry, you have to check out that perfume. But 100% similar. And I'm giving it 100 because of longevity, the sillage, everything is so crazy. And I got like, I've also layered this with my Lost Cherry dupe by Oil Perfumery. So they make oil perfume dupes. So I layered my body in that and I sprayed this on and I smelled delicious the entire night. So I have put a dent, if you could see that, in this fragrance quite a bit. So this is a really good dupe for Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. If you love that fragrance, but again, cannot justify the price, especially for the longevity, Ambery Cherry by Dossier is like chef's kiss. Now, the very last fragrance I have is one that is so incredibly popular, and I feel like I could not make this Dossier video without including this, and this is Ambery Saffron, and this is a dupe for none other than Baccarat Rouge 540. So I do have Baccarat Rouge 540. I still love it. I don't really understand like the Baccarat Rouge hate. Personally, I think it's a wonderful fragrance. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be duped so many times, but that's a story for another video. So this smells so incredibly similar. The only thing I would say this smells about 95% similar, and that's because this is a lot more dense to me in terms of like sweetness. So you still get that Baccarat Rouge DNA, but if you smell Baccarat Rouge, it has this airy sweet quality. And I think the airiness of that fragrance is what makes it so incredibly intoxicating because it's like sweet and like airy at the same time, but it's not headache inducing, at least not to me. But they did definitely get it still in the realm of Baccarat Rouge, but it's missing the airy quality. So this one is a little bit more dense than the original. And so that's why I put it on the list because if you still don't want to buy Baccarat Rouge, because I know a lot of people say that like they spray it, and again, like you can absolutely go anosmic to Baccarat Rouge. You spray it and then you can't smell yourself anymore. And that might not be fun if you're spending $400 or $500 for a fragrance. You want to be able to smell yourself. And that one definitely can just can make you anosmic. So you can't smell it anymore, even if you love the fragrance. This one I found that I can smell no matter what. So where with my Baccarat Rouge, I would be able to smell myself for like maybe an hour, 30 minutes. And then it kind of like, I go anosmic to it. I can't smell it anymore, but other people can smell me. This one, no matter what, I was still able to smell myself. So if that's something that you are interested in, and you guys can see I've made a dent in it too, because I still like it just the same. It's just a lot more denser, more sweeter than the original, but I would still get this and I would still have my original because I like the fact that that's more airy. But sometimes if it's like more really cold, I like to reach for this because it still has that airy quality, just a little bit toned down. So in terms of that, again, I'm pretty sure anyone watching this video has probably smelled Baccarat, but if you haven't, it's a sweet, airy type of scent. Some people say it smells like a dentist's office. I don't know what that means or like what what exactly you're smelling in the dentist office, but it doesn't smell like that to me. Some people say it smells like cotton candy, it smells like bubble gum. To me, it just, I can't pinpoint what it smells like because it's made up a lot of different molecules. It just smells sweet and airy and just something I've never smelled before. And like a all year round fragrance. So yeah, so in terms of that one, that's just not, it's just a little bit sweeter, but I still feel like it was close enough in terms of some of the other Baccarat Rouge dupes I've smelt that are kind of like funky a little bit or just way too sweet. I feel like this one is like right in the middle. So that's why I give it a rating of 95% similar because it's not exactly, but I think so far that's the closest that personally I have found. So yes, again, if you don't want to spend that much money on Baccarat Rouge because you can't smell it or you just feel like that's way too much money for a perfume, completely understand. I get it. So this is another one that you can try out. And if you want to actually try out like Baccarat Rouge to see if you might actually like it, I would get this because Baccarat Rouge is quite expensive. It is a quite expensive perfume. All the perfumes I mentioned today that are, the actual ones and not the inspired ones are pretty expensive. So sometimes I think that dupe brands or brands that make inspired fragrances are such a great way to see if you might like something in the realm of that kind of scent profile before spending hundreds of dollars and you go, oh, I don't actually really like this. And sometimes I'll be honest, like a little 2 or 3 ml sample isn't always enough. Sometimes you might need like a month or so with a fragrance to be like, okay, no, I really like this. So I also think that, being able to spend like, $30, $60, it's like $60 Dossier here in Canada, is just a lot more, less painful than spending, two up to $500 for a fragrance and deciding it's not for you. So that was all the Dossier fragrances I had to show you. I hope you guys liked this video. I've been testing these out for like the past 6 months. I've been wanting to do this video for a really long time. If you want to see like my entire Dossier collection, I have about 12 and you kind of want me to rate them, I will absolutely do that. Let me know down below in the comment section. But if there's a Dossier fragrance that you like, and you feel like they did a really good job on, I would love to know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope you would follow me on my social media handles. I post on TikTok as well on Instagram. So if you want to see what I'm up to, sometimes I'm over there too. But I thank you again so much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.